All right, so this is a call to order. First, comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance. I'm sorry, this is the Parking Committee meeting, July 11th, 6 p.m. I'm Sheila Vaccaro with Lisa Dorsey and Bernie Flynn. So, comments and suggestions by anyone? Seeing none, we're going to move on to discussion items, the Garage Management Monthly Report.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Joe Mallon. I was here last month. Thank you for having me. Go over a couple just numbers from last month. It was some ups and downs, but overall it was a good month. We'll start with Bicentennial Garage. It was $52,562 over budget by $60. Variance year to date. Prior year was $338. Year to date still looks good. Actuals $304,815. Variance to budget by 10,000, but over year to date, 29,172. So very good month there. Opportunity still lies with the monthlies. So it's 39,611, down 2698 with a variance of 543 from prior year. Year to date's 225,901, but down 27,000 to budget and $800 over last year. So transient is still monthly parking, or excuse me, monthly parking still seems to be an issue. So opportunity there. But overall, year-to-date numbers for Bicentennial were up 21,571. We attribute that just to weather and Westchester opening up. Weekends, nights, and have been very busy. So that's positive. So for Chestnut Garage, monthly was 54,293. Variance positive 14,000 over budget. Over last year 16,000. So that's really positive. Year to date $238,000. Down 743 to budget, which just means that the budget's numbers wrong in my opinion, because we're up 51,401 over last year. So the budget number, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So monthly, 68,582, down 15,000 over last year, down 10,000. So there's definitely an opportunity with the monthly parking, which I guess maybe Ramsey and I can talk about how to stimulate that going forward. Year to date, 443,812. Year-to-date variance for the monthly is down 63,000 and variance over prior years 26,000. So the variance over budget isn't the concern. The variance is over last year. So that's an actual number. So that's still, that's where there's some opportunity. But year-to-date, we're still positive 33,732 for that garage. So total for transient 106,855, up 14,000, variance 16,000 over prior year, which is huge. That's for both garages. Actual year to date 543,317, and then year to date up 80,573. So transient, that's a really good sign. That means you're because we feel it on nights and weekends. We're getting a lot of traffic, which is great. And I think we have less events than we've had last year. Didn't they cut some events too? So that's just people coming in, which is great. Monthlies, 108, 193, down 90. So variance over prior year, down 10,000 for the two garages. And then year to date, that's a scary number, for monthly is down 35,000 for the two garages. So monthlies is the opportunity. Transient, it's fantastic. A lot of that has to do with what we're doing with, we have less damages at the gates. We have more supervision on nights and weekends, and we've done scheduling based off of volume. So mornings and weekend, or mornings during the week, it's very light. Nights and weekends, we have extra staff with supervision. So there's less people buzzing out. So we're gaining more money, more revenue, less breakages. We haven't had anything as far as damages to the garage, as far as equipment, which is big. So it's going very well. So that's all I have as far as the numbers. Any questions on what we're doing over there at the garages?
Just what do you have plans? Are you going to work with Ramsey on the monthly
Well, we talked briefly. I'll let her decide what we're going to do. I know we're definitely going to do something in the schools. I think we talked about that. So we're going to, and if I need to help with that, we'll set up meetings. We'll do that. So
Very good. Thank you.
anything else? We're good. Awesome. Great. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, and we're going to move on to the bid fee waive request for Up on the Roof.
Good evening. Yeah, I have some moral support with me tonight. So this requesting, so Up on the Roof, this is the 21st year. This is a request of John O'Brien, Westchester Business Improvement District. Up on the Roof is a charitable event for the Westchester Downtown Foundation. This is their 21st year that they will be doing this event. It is held on Saturday, September 16th, starting at 5:30. Funds raised are used for their community grant program, as well as the cleaning green effort that the bid does. The WCDF helps support that as well. Every year, obviously, the goal here is to raise as much money as possible for charity. With vendor costs continuing to grow, we were hoping that council would be amenable as, somewhat of an in-kind sponsorship to allow free parking validations. I think would probably be the best mode. There's approximately 450 tickets that are issued. Probably about 415, 420 folks we're expecting to actually show up. That does not mean 415 cars, because we get a lot of couples that come, also a lot of borough residents who either decide to walk and also take Uber and or Lyft or something along those lines. So traditionally, for the last 2 or 3 years, we have usually been billed by the parking garage a little south of $500. It seems to be the normal trend that we've been going with.
I'm okay with this.
I just want to make sure this is a new request, right? This is not something we've done.
This is a new request, and we're, obviously inflation being what it is, all our vendor costs are going up, and we are have done a really good job with corporate sponsorships, but we still want to make sure we're hitting our marks, that we're able to fund the community grant program at a good level.
And does the borough normally sponsor?
The borough normally sponsors the preservation awards at a higher dollar amount. I'm not as involved with that event. This would be more on the parking side, and we would recognize the borough as an in-kind sponsor for this as well.
Okay, thank you.
No issues.
Okay.
Any objections to rolling in the resolution that we approve every year for this event?
Yep.
Actually,
Separately.
I'd actually like John to come back every year and ask for that. I'm just kidding.
That's fine. August then?
Yeah, however council, my calendar's open in August, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the
Was that
director's
approved?
report.
Okay. 3-0. Great. All right. Hello. I didn't bring a baby. I'm sorry. I'm down to dogs and teenagers. So we are still, I was hoping to bring you the final decision for the capital project for the upgrades at the garages, but I still, one of the focuses for me is personally is to understand the back office software that we would be rolling out for businesses in town for validation codes. So we're down to 2 vendors that we're looking at, and it's been a committee. I think I told you, me, Bill Mann, Nick Fink, Sean Metrick, and Jeff Carbone from IT. We've tested out 5 systems for upgrading the parking garage entry and pay on foot systems to go more futuristic. So cashless, license plate readers, QR codes. But one of the goals would be to partner with businesses in town, like Uptown Theater. When you purchase tickets, you would be able to buy your parking at the same time. But I really want to understand what that looks like what both systems look like, and I'm waiting for one more demo. So I should have that for you at the next meeting. But both are great, and we've tested them all out. So that'll be a really, really nice upgrade, and hopefully help with the monthly and transient parking. What else? The Justice Center parking facility, I've worked with Kristen Camp and I've reached out to Jan Bowers at the county to work on a lease for how to enforce at the garage. I haven't heard back from, I think Jan was out of town last week for the 4th. So as soon as I hear back, I'll bring that to you guys for consideration and then to council for approval. Our Passport app, which is the app for the parking meters in town, we received a letter that they're going to be raising the end user costs from 25 cents to 35 cents. Flowbird has offered to take over and cover the charges at 25 cents. So if parking committee is agreeable, this might be an opportunity to end our contract with Passport gracefully and to move to Flowbird on the meters downtown at no charge, which would be nice because then it would partner with the kiosks in town and would give one app for users. So I wanted to see if the three of you were comfortable with working with Kristen on getting out of the contract to save the money for users.
I like this plan.
Okay, good, okay. Surface lot leasing updates. I have spoken with Brian McFadden about lot 7. I will have some more information on that land development and lot lease at the next meeting. He and I think have an understanding of what lot 7's lease terms were. He is paying a monthly fee for each lot, each space that he's using. And I believe that he also paved lot 3 as part of his land development agreement, which is the one at the end of, what is it, Gay and New, across from lot 6, diagonal from St. Agnes, the little tiny lot near the community garden. So he would like to get something in writing, and that was part of his land development agreement. Lot 10, I'm still looking to get in touch with J-Lo Properties and that group to solidify. I did not find the land development agreement stipulating that. Kristen Camp had some insight, so I'm working on that. And then lot 5, we should discuss. My recommendation, I think, would be that if you do want to consider doing lot leases that aren't tied to land development, like lot 5, which is the Methodist Church, that you should do a lottery for those and have it done by license plate and not do bulk leases to specific businesses, but do it, have 15 spaces in a lot from 8 to 5 during the day and do them just like you do lot 3 or lot 6 and do them by a lottery instead. So that would be my recommendation.
I'm good with that.
Okay, I'll bring official info at the next meeting, but I've done some digging, so I feel confident about that. So that's the quick director's report. Can you scroll? Where are we? What are we on? Oh, okay. So for fee schedule changes, so I had some considerations. I am asking, we had discussed at the last meeting, I still have to tidy up the ordinance itself, but we had talked about changing the business fee to match the lot costs at 125 a year. So I'm asking that you modify that, you'll have to do a resolution. So we would change business license permits to 125 annually. I'm also asking to increase the posting per block for construction companies to $100 per block. And I did justify that. I backed into that number through a spreadsheet based on time. These construction companies, it's like nonstop. And instead of doing it by sign and by block, it would just be easier that we post the entire block, and we have a posting policy. So they would come in 72 hours ahead of time. They would post the block. It would be for 5 business days, and they would have to repost every 5 days. Hopefully that would speed them up and they wouldn't be taking over blocks as long as they are. Meters would not be included. They would, if there are meters on the block, they would also pay the meter fee as well. And the other consideration for the fee schedule, the bike lockers at Chestnut Street Garage, it's been like a running joke with my girlfriends and I, but they've been sitting there collecting leaves for a while. And I thought it might be cool if we just took a bike key deposit for $100, just bring us $100 and we will give it back to you after a year, and just please use the bike lockers. I can help, maybe John O'Brien could help us and we could work with some of the businesses in town. I think Sheila had mentioned maybe talk to bike shops. But I'm sure there are people that could be utilizing them, but I'd love to see them used. So I wanted to see if we could add that to the fee schedule as well. So those are my 3 fee schedule changes I'm asking for approval for.
I'm good. Lisa, looks like, yeah, okay.
Good.
You look deep.
That was a
in
lot
thought.
of words, sorry.
I do have one question.
Sure.
The posting, so it's $100 every week,
Every 5 days.
5 days.
Mhm.
I like
And
it.
this is just for construction companies. So if you're a resident and you need to get a refrigerator dropped off, you just call us. We'll give you the signs. You post them, no charge. That's a different situation. This is for like Danella, who's just busting up, not just them, but everyone. Hoping that'll speed it up. Good.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, ordinance changes?
So I met with Public Works, who was super helpful, especially Rich Keim, the street sweeping guru of the borough. And we went through the existing ordinance 10432. There were some minor changes that I just consolidated a few streets because there's like 1,000 words here. The highlights that I wanted to mention, he asked that we add Lafayette from Matlack to Walnut to add a Monday 8 to 11. He asked if we could change High Street from Bernard to Union from an 8 to 11 to a 2 to 5 a.m. And that would continue the 2 to 5 from south of there. Price Street, I think it skipped. I think it's the 300 and 400 block or the 400, 500 block. So this would go from end to end of Price Street. And the one question that I needed answered is how parking committee and ultimately council felt about adding East Bernard, the 50 block of East Bernard, adding an 8 to 11 over there. It seems like that side has been semi-neglected. It's annoying because, you add an 8 to 11 and that means people need to move and people get frustrated about lack of parking. It's an 8 to 11, so it's daytime and people are usually at work. It's going to be a training exercise, but it is, we are kind of neglecting that portion of the borough and it feels like it should be added to it.
I am in support of adding this. I think it does a couple of things. It cleans the streets, which is very important to me and I think the residents. But it also gets in the way of warehousing vehicles, and some of these streets have been vocal about vehicle warehousing issues, and so I think it solves it. It pokes at a few problems simultaneously. So I'm in support.
Good.
I'd like to give a kudos to the Public Works Department with this. Rich actually cares that much about the borough and his task riding around a little street sweeper to notice that some streets are not being cleaned.
Yeah.
And he cares enough about it to make sure that they're clean. So kudos, Mr. Edwards, please tell the
Yes.
street sweeper, Rich, and put that in the file for the $200,000 worth of funding we're supposed to do for the teamwork.
I will say that the amount of information in Rich's head is unreal. We need to download that. Okay. Great. Well, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
will clean that up and have Kristen Camp prepare that then for next month. Good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
I had a quick question. Did I hear you say if someone is having something delivered and they requested a sign posted?
Mhm.
I thought signs to be posted were $5 each.
That's if you're funerals or construction. Residents, if you're having like a refrigerator or something delivered to your house, you can come for free and we'll give you the signs and you can post them. We won't ticket or tow, but we'll help you save the space. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the action items. A is amendment to extend the Reef Garage Management Agreement through August 31st, 2024 with a 3% increase.
Yeah, so this is just the extension of the management contract. We did remove the 2 lots that just were living on there. So we'll manage lot 6 as we have been, and then lot 10, which is not a problem.
And then schedule a hearing for ordinance amendment, chapter 104551 for food trucks.
So this, we noticed there was a word making this ordinance a little confusing. So I'd like to schedule this as soon as possible, just to clarify that this ordinance is for food trucks only and not for mobile businesses, which has come up. So it would just modify and remove the word business from the ordinance.
I think it just cleans things up.
Yeah.
So help me understand, Ramsey, what this does?
Right now, if you read it, it's kind of worded in a way that seems as though you could have a mobile business down on campus and not just a mobile food truck. So that wasn't really the intention of the ordinance. So wanted to clean it up before we had some weird things happening down there.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then the last thing is to approve the June 2023 Parking Committee meeting minutes. Approved.
Approved.
Any other business?
Ms. Vaquera, a question for Ramsey and Mr. Metric. Because of all the rain that we've been having, the 1,000-year flood we've been having lately, where do we stand with the leakage at our bicentennial garage with the chocolate store and the sneaker store? Has Mr. Cherry addressed the issue, and do we have a plan to execute that comes before Public Works?
Yes to both of those questions. Don can speak to the exact dollar amount. It's going to be something that will have to come before council as a purchasing, a quote to be authorized by council. See Don moving towards the microphone. But yeah, I'm excited about this because we have a possibility. I think we were correcting something that was incorrect about how the building was constructed. So do you want to say more, Don, about it? Or
So to follow up on that, the remediation work and the waterproofing work that we did 2 years ago or a year ago, COVID years, that didn't address that was missed.
No, that was good work. And work that needed to be done, but it didn't solve the leak into that one retail space because it needs flashing. And what we were doing with the work in 2022 was necessary work that involved a lot of replacing of the elastometric joints all over the garage, especially on that. We thought we were going to get off easy when we did the front coping over the retail spaces, but lo and behold, the leaks kept happening, and we did identify the leaks coming from the building in the interior, not through the storefront. So that's why we went and found an architect to help us diagnose that. And that's where we're at now. We do have a plan. We do have an estimate of cost, and we're at a point where we're ready to move on that.
Okay. Don Edwards, Public Works Director. The cost estimate is about $10,000 to $15,000. As Mr. Metric mentioned, at least in part, there were two deficiencies. One is the facade did not have weep holes, which it should have had in the beginning, and it didn't have what's called through wall flashing. And basically what was happening was you got the facade and probably masonry block behind it, and then there's like a little air gap, and water's just racing right down there. If we had weep holes, if we had that flashing in there, it would have blocked it from getting all the way down there. So that's what the $10,000 to $15,000 is for.
I fully understand. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right.
Very good. Thank you. And we're going to adjourn.
Good. Good. Thank you.
6:27.
Timely.